Hi scrappy friends, welcome to my channel. I am working on a Larkin Designs layout here, and this is using the May kit, or the May collection that Teresa designed, and that cut file too. So I believe the collection is Ordinary Moments. So it's a really fun. I'm using the papers, and so right now the only paper that I'm using is that poppy seed one, or the poppy one. It's really pretty. It's a nice coral color with a little bit more dark coral, and I used 1 Canoe 2 paper to print out the cut file in. It was like almost the exact same color, which is awesome when that happens. And so I'm gonna adhere this paper to the top with my sewing machine. So I'm kind of gonna go away for a second, and then I'll be back with it all sewed on together. And I also am going to be attaching a gold doily from Spiegel Mom Scraps. I have like just a few left, and they're really pretty, and it works out really nicely. It's a nice contrast to that really dark paper. It just kind of makes it feel a little bit more elevated, and I love this cut file. It's so pretty, and it's so pretty I don't even want to like back it or anything. I just really want it to show its delicateness. So I'm just gonna put it on that white cardstock and then figure out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull some stuff out, and I'm sorry for the lighting. It's really weird. I don't know what time of the day I taped this, but sometimes the light in my room is really crazy just because of the way the sun is shining. So in the wintertime it's really bad, and I get a lot of shadows, and I try to edit it enough so that it doesn't look too bad. But this is one of those moments where I feel like even though I tried to make it better, it just doesn't look that great. So yeah. And the doily probably doesn't help because it's putting off that shininess. So I'm going to look at some of the ephemera from the Here and There collection. And I also am going to look in the 1 Canoe 2 stuff that I have, because that is an awesome collection, the Twilight collection. It's really pretty. It's a really nice summery collection for this time of the year, for that May and June time. I guess it depends where you live, because there's fireflies and everything. So I'm trying to figure out what pieces I really want to use, how much paper I want to put in. This is always the fun and hardest part is just like getting the best of what your supplies are and figuring out how to match it all together. And like when you're taking a digital collection and you're mixing it with an actual physical collection that someone else made, I think the key is to just find just 1 or 2 things that match or contrast from each other. So you want something that maybe like kind of looks similar, and then something that contrasts. I think that really helps. So I'm just using some some of this liquid glue from Tombow. I'm not a big fan of this, but it does okay for this kind of thing, for paper to paper. I don't really like it when I'm doing embellishments. I don't think it holds that well, and actually I just don't really care for it that much, but I'd rather use glossy accents if I'm going to use more of a clear liquidy. The green top, the mono, I like a little bit better, but even then that is really messy, so it gets really tacky easily. So that's something to think about when you're using for cut files and stuff. And even having like a fine liner would work really well. So I'm also going to pull in a little bit of the Maggie Holmes stuff. I really like that, that pink and red It's like almost that corally color, so they kind of match, and I really like the design, the pattern too. It's gonna really help. So these are not poppy flowers. These are actually orchids. I had an orchid flower in Hawaii, and I took these really awesome photos when I was doing the Lens of Joy class, and from Allie Edwards, and I have a ton of photos that I took while I was taking that class, and some of them are some of my favorite photos still to this day. And I think it's just because I was learning my new camera. I was learning just what things I like to focus on when I take a photo, and just finding what the joy that I get out of the lens is. So yes. And so I thought that green would really help also pop with all of the color. And the inside of my orchids were more of like a purpley color, but like when you look at it here, it looks really similar to the colors that are on my layout. So I really wanted to add another pop of green because I had that. So I'm gonna let the heart just kind of show just a smidge. And I like having elements from your photo kind of mimic and show up in your papers or embellishments. The key is to not make it feel really matchy-matchy, in my mind. I mean, maybe in your mind you need it to be matchy-matchy, and that is fine too. So I just hope that, you know, when you guys are using like collections, digital collections that you've printed off with regular, you know, physical collections that already have come together and you didn't have to piece the pieces yourself, just find the elements that really speak to you and call to you and use them. You know, don't worry. They'll all come together. So I really like adding just an edge of that white brick paper. It really brings in a little bit more of that natural feel, and I'm going to layer some stuff up here because that's what I like to do. And it needs something up there where that gold, it needs something to break up all that gold, because as much as that doily is amazing, it needs something there. So also, I will make sure that in the info box below that I will have the information where you can find the blog post that I did for this. So yes, I also went back and added more stitching, so that is where I went off to, and I had to cut it off. So I definitely like to leave some of the strings of my stitching on, but I definitely don't like it to be really long for the most part. So a lot of times I will cut that, and I'm gonna add some of these wood buttons because I like those. Think I added one on the inside of the camera too, just so that I had more than one. A lot of times, instead of doing a group of 3, I will actually just do 2. I know that's not all that amazing when it comes to design, but I don't know. So I really like this card, um, the library card holder, the flower one. And so I'm going to try to figure out how to use this so that you can see it, because I really like it. And I have had these for a while and I really haven't used them because it's kind of hard to figure out how to use them for whatever reason. But so at some point I'm going to figure out exactly how I want it. And I kind of had to mess around with it because I wanted a lot of it, enough of it to show and stuff. So without losing some of the other layers that I have. And I wanted to be able to pull the card out too, right? So I just kind of messed with it and stuff like that. So this layout actually did not take too long. I think I spent a lot of time watching stuff while I was doing it, so it probably even took a little bit longer than it really needed to. So as you can see, I'm kind of like slowly adding things to my layout. Eventually it all gets on here. I probably could have sped this up a one more turn. but usually the way I speed it up is enough. So I am going to add one of those color cast pieces to the side of the paper, so of the layout, so it will stick out. Yeah, it might just mean that my layout will actually be facing the other way when I put it in, so that it doesn't, I don't have to cut it off or cut the page protector. So I have done stuff like that before, so I am sorry. I don't know where my hands are. I don't know what I'm doing. I must have had to go do something. And I do have a whole bunch of those dots. I wish I would clear some of that away. And as you can see, I added the love and that heart from the ephemera piece. And I did staple with my mini staples the color cast piece. I like that 3 and 4. Forget where I put it though. And I'm going to end up putting my title up above the photo too. I'm not sure when. I think I end up just leaving it there because I end up really liking it there on the side. And it just kind of creates this bottom line visually because you have the top line, but it's not a really strong line. So, and it looks really awesome with all these enamel dots. I mean, I have a ton of them, so I might as well use them. And since I have colors that are similar, it's really fun. It was kind of fun to do this because I don't generally just like throw a ton of, and I think it's because I don't want to use all of them because I know I love them, even though you should just use what you have, right? So I had a lot of fun using this cut file and doing something a little bit different because I feel like this is a little bit different than, since I don't use cut files all that often, like this at least. So it was fun. I'm going to use these thickers that have the glitter, and I absolutely love them. They're like one of my favorite thickers. And I love that they have 2 sizes. So I am almost done with this. So I think I'm going to just finish up by putting the title on, and I use these small ones from October Afternoon. They're almost done, but I really love that green. It really helps bring in some of the other greens that I put on the page. And don't forget to look at the info box below so that you can see all of the yummy information and where you can find all these products that I used from the Larkindesign store, because that is what I'm highlighting. So I will see you guys later, and I hope you guys stay inspired. Bye!